Over a week ago, we released this video right here where we spoke with a coin shop owner out of Spring Hill, Florida, who said that his sales are down between 65 and 75% of where they were just 5 or 6 months ago. That is a huge drop, but it is certainly supported by looking at premiums because the premiums on silver have been plummeting over the last few months. But we did get many comments from people, including some coin shop owners, who said they are actually experiencing the opposite. They are seeing an increase in sales. They are seeing an increase in interest in stacking silver and gold. And we're going to be talking with one of those coin shop owners today. His name is Josh from Minot Coin and Bullion, and he left this comment on my video where he said, "I think geography plays a big part in metals demand at the moment. I'm as busy as ever in Minot, North Dakota. A lot of new buyers in my area are investing in precious metals. Many others are continuing to add to their stacks. Lower premiums and drop in spot prices have definitely contributed to more sales in my shop." Well, of course, we want to find out more. So today we're going to be joined by Josh from Minot Coin and Bullion, who is going to tell us a little bit more about what's going on up in North Dakota with sales in his shop and how demand is actually spiking. Let's get Josh in here, but before we do, don't forget to like and subscribe and help us continue to grow. Another year, another monster box of silver. For 2024, SD Bullion is giving away a full monster box of their 1-ounce silver Tree of Life coins. You can enter this giveaway all year, but I suggest that you do it now by going to sdbullion.com/sweepstakes and make sure you enter today. Thank you to SD Bullion for sponsoring my channel. All right, Josh, welcome back. It is a pleasure to have you. As I stated in the intro, you had left this comment on the video that I did with Brian from Vermilion with an opposite opinion. He had said his sales were down 65 to 75%. You said you're experiencing the opposite up there in Minot, North Dakota. I'd love to get a little bit more insight into that. So what's been going on these last few weeks with silver, with gold, with demand, premiums coming down? I want to hear your side. What do you got going on up there?
Well, thanks for having me back on. It's been busy in Minot. For whatever reason, even though this is the time of year where weather gets really cold, as I mentioned to you before we started recording, we had near minus 70 degree Fahrenheit wind chills for a few days, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I still had people coming to the shop. I was open. People were still out and about, business as usual, but demand is as high as ever in my part of the world. My sales for January versus last January are going to be up well over 50%, depending on how the next few days go. Could be 60%, maybe even 70. So demand hasn't slowed in my part of the world. So a big part of it is go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so how would this January compare to, say, March and April of last year?
Well, March of last year was my busiest month ever. But this is going to be fairly close to that, actually. I mean, within about 20-30%. Of my busiest month ever, and it's a January, which honestly, January, what I experienced in the beginning of the month was a lot of people coming in to sell precious metal, not so much coin collections or estates or anything like that, but it was people selling bullion back in order to presumably finance Christmas, and I think we even talked about that in a call. Well, the buyers haven't slowed down either. The sellers have maybe picked up, but the buyers haven't slowed down. So there's a lot of people that are still continuing to add to their stack. I've had several big deals go through the shop this month, which has helped. But yeah, it really hasn't wavered. And I've seen a lot of new stackers coming in as well. A lot of, I would say they're inexperienced. They'll come in and they'll flat out tell me, I've never done this before. Help. What should I buy? What's the best buy? And there's no straight answer on that, but of course I'll talk them through their different options and ultimately they make the decision. But there's a lot of people still in my area that are getting into metals for the first time.
So let me ask you this, those people that are coming in that are just now getting into metals, did they tell you what's made them want to get into it at all?
Some have, not all of them, but some, and it's the obvious things you would expect. Distrust in financial institutions, worried about inflation, worried about government, worried about, the socio-economic state of the world, trust in our dollar. I mean, it's all the common things you hear. I don't want to say they're going into this with fear in their mind, but apprehension, I guess, about maybe leaving all of what they have in the bank. Diversity is important, of course, and I wouldn't encourage anybody to put all their money into metal, but I think you should put some. And that's what a lot of people are starting to do. A lot of people that never, you would have asked them a year ago, or told them a year ago about precious metal, they would just laugh it off. Now they're lined up coming in here to buy. So I think a lot of people are opening their eyes, to something quote unquote new, to put their cash into, and that's precious metal.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, diversifying what you're investing in, what you're putting your money in. Because, I get a lot of people, because my channel, compared to like some of the other ones, it's not all hype. It's not all buy all the silver you can. And some people take that as me being negative towards silver, which I certainly am not. In fact, since premiums have come down in the last few months, Josh, I have increased how much I've been adding to my stack, because with premiums down and spot price down, in my opinion, it's a great opportunity to lower your DCA if that's what you're working on, or just to buy more silver. But it's not that I'm being negative on silver at all. It's just that I want people to think about it, intelligently, not to just fear monger in or go in and buy as much silver as they can because they're worried about something that may not happen. It doesn't mean that you don't buy it. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in it. I most certainly do. But I just want people to think about it, financially responsibly, and not just, put themselves in a bad position. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head, and I 100% agree with everything you just said. I feel the exact same way. I personally added to my stack over the last few months as well. And that's why I talk about it too on my channel. It's low spot, low premiums don't tend to coexist for a real long time. So look at it as an opportunity. But a lot of people, as we've talked and you've seen in your comments and in different videos, customer sentiment is down because people want that, instant gratification, that quick spike in price to make them feel good for making that investment. You're rarely going to see that in metal. There's times that you could, but that's not the norm. So yeah, I increased my stack as well, and other customers have been coming in to do that in the shop. And as I mentioned before, a lot of new people coming in to just even start their stack. So, and one thing I've seen a lot of too, I've seen a lot of people trading away what you've called on your channel before, and I use the term now, semi-numi bullion, graded silver eagles or, low mintage Perth mint items that might have a really high cost versus the amount of silver that's inside. People are trading those things in to maximize ounces. And same with collector coins. I have people bringing in their coin collections, trading them in for bullion. So people in my area are really concerned, or maybe not concerned, but really focused on stacking the ounces. So that's a different whole dynamic that I've noticed lately in the shop.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree with that at all. Like, I am absolutely looking at Eagles again because I like Eagles as an actual stacking bullion, so long as the premiums aren't, double spot like they were back middle of last year. But
yeah.
I've been able to find some deals under $4 an ounce over spot, which in my opinion is great for an Eagle, given that the authorized distributors, or authorized purchasers, I should say, they get those from the mint for $2.35, and then they have to sell them to, shops like you, which then sell them. So, money has to be made there on both ends. I get it. So when I see it under $4, I'm like, well, from, this standpoint, that's actually really not bad. So I've been looking at that. But as far as those high cost semi-newbies, slab silver eagles, things like that, I've never said you should ever stack those. I collect them. I have a massive collection of one of each of really cool designs on my channel. About a week and a half ago, during one of my Talking Hands videos, I had showed off this collection of alien coins that I have. But you don't stack those, you collect those, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's, I absolutely do get where people would want to be adding more precious metal overall to their stack. So, if you can get 25 ounces of rounds for the same cost as 20 ounces of eagles, get the rounds. Why not?
Right. And it's not even so much that. And like I said, there are still people buying sovereigns, eagles, maples, and whatnot, because I consider that a stackable bullion coin too, with where premiums are at. But for example, I had a person come in. They had I don't know if you know the plastic sheets of Chinese pandas.
Mm-hmm.
Familiar with like the white plastic sheets?
Yeah, I use those.
Came in.
I use those for my collections of semi-newbies, like all these different designs.
Great.
I'll put them in capsules and put them in those.
Yeah, well, I had a person come in with a few of those, and they used to collect it. It kind of ran its course with them, and they wanted to convert it into more bullion. So basically they traded that back in for more ounces of silver, and they went with privately minted silver rounds and silver bars. And I forget the exact specifics, but I think they increased their stack 3 or 4 ounces just by doing a swap. So they walked out happy with more silver in their pockets. So, and that's what I'm seeing more and more of lately. And I'm not discouraging or saying that the semi-numi stuff isn't selling, because it still does, and there's a market for it. And in fact, I still collect it too. But it's getting harder and harder for me. There's a $100 1-ounce silver coin. It's like, wow, do I want to spend $100 on 1 ounce, or should I add 4 silver rounds to my stack today? So that's an internal struggle that I have personally, that I think a lot of my customers do too. So that's just, it's almost a new phenomenon that I'm seeing lately, because I've done a lot of those trades for people that have traded higher premium stuff for lower premium just to increase their ounces.
So you know what I think, and I'd love to hear your perspective, given that you're in a shop every day, well, most days. You know what I think the reason for that is once you cross a certain number, let's say you have a semi-newbie that you're going to buy that's like 60 or 70 or $80, you really start to wonder, how easy is it going to be for me to turn around and sell this if I choose to? Because a lot of that stuff, if you take it into coin shops, you're not going to get 60 or 70 out of it. Some shops will look at it as just bullion. Some may pay you a premium on it, but you're not going to get anywhere close to what you paid unless you sell it on your own. And some people don't want to deal with that hassle of listing it on eBay or in a group or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're 100% right. I have actually a pretty frequent customer who usually sells to me. He buys things on online, not necessarily through eBay, but Whatnot and other platforms like that. He also gets things, I think they're called waffles, where you could basically buy a ticket. Let's say there's a $100 coin, they're going to sell 20 tickets at $10 each, so you can get a $100 coin for $10 if they draw your number, and the person who's selling it is going to get $200 for it. But anyway, he comes in with oddball stuff, and most recently he came in with a certified silver coin that I'd never seen in my life. It's called Second Skin. It looks almost like an alien peeling their skin off. But it was by the Cook Islands, a Proof 70 Ultra Cameo. I had no idea what it's worth. And he always challenges me when he comes in, because he literally brings me things that I never see. So we pull up the obvious. We go on eBay. Well, here's the comps. Here's kind of where it's at. I think the comps were anywhere from $85 to $100. I gave him $70. He was thrilled. I have a sticker on it for $99 in my case right now. So is it going to sell? Maybe. But I sure wasn't going to give him bullion price. It's a 1-ounce silver coin. But he only had about $10 into it. So he came out pretty happy. But there again, who's going to buy that? Somebody probably will eventually. And now that we've talked about it, maybe somebody will call and want to buy it. But it's interesting stuff like that I can appreciate the added value to it on top of bullion. So I'm willing to pay more when that stuff comes in. There's just not always necessarily a real strong market for it, and it can sit for a while.
Yeah, and I think a lot of shops, they see that there's not a strong market for it, and that's why they offer, I know you don't, but that's why some of them just offer bullion price for things like that. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
You brought up a couple of questions for me, though. With those, yeah, I've heard about those, $10 buy spots before. Isn't that illegal?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, it's basically gambling,
I don't know.
right?
Well, arguably.
Yeah,
I suppose it is, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not legal experts, by the way, guys. So whatever we say, I could be 100% wrong here. But to me, it just
I can tell you.
well, like to me, it just seems like there's mystery bags, but with mystery bags, you get something, and as long as that you're at least getting something, even if you don't necessarily get what you spent. But with these, there's if you have 10 people that pay 10 or 20 people that pay $10 per pop. That's 19 people that don't get anything. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's at that point, is it not just literally gambling? That's kind of what I'm getting at. So I don't know.
I'm sure there'll be some legal experts that'll weigh in the comments and let us know.
Oh, I'm sure the comments will come. So, but we're not legal experts. I don't know. You guys feel free to leave a comment down below, but don't scold me for saying, the wrong thing, because I'm straight up telling you I have no clue. So it doesn't sound like something that would be legal, though, I guess. But, another point, to that, though, not getting into the legality at all, but you said your customer only had $10 in that coin. But how many other times did he bid on something else where he didn't win it? So is it really just $10 into it? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like when you get people that you talk to. Yeah, I won some money in the lottery. Oh, really? What'd you win? Oh, I won $10. I'm like, oh, what'd you spend on tickets? Oh, 50. Oh, so
Yeah.
you lost 40. You didn't win 10. You lost 40.
Yeah, they'll,
But yeah, it's kind of the same mindset.
buy a $5 buy a $5 scratcher every week, and then 20 weeks from now you win $50. You're like, sweet, I won $50. Not even thinking about the fact that you spent $100 over the last 20 weeks to get there. So
Yeah.
it's the house always wins, as they say, Josh.
It does. It does.
All right, Josh, so I want to get back on topic here, and let's move into premiums, because as I noted earlier in this video, premiums have been coming down. Have your customers said anything specific about that causing them to want to stack more? And then additionally, what are you paying right now across the counter? What's it costing you to get it wholesale? And how is that turning around to sales in your shop? What are you selling it for? Give me some info.
Sure. Yeah. Well, customer feedback is positive in regards to premiums. A lot of people are excited to be paying lower prices, of course. Couple that with low spot, and it makes it even a better deal. So I think, as I touched on earlier, that's another reason I've seen an uptick in business in my own shop. Foot traffic is really high. There's rarely a moment when I'm open, when my door is unlocked, that I'm in here alone. There's almost always at least one customer in here shopping. So, but in terms of prices I have to pay, they haven't fluctuated a whole lot. Certain things have gotten a little bit cheaper. I'll start with gold, because gold is one that usually doesn't move very much. But lately it has, and I'll explain why. Give your interview with Brian Vermillion, for example. He said sales are down quite a bit in his part of the world. I'm not sure if that means that he's getting inundated with people selling, but I have a feeling there's a lot of shops, I know for sure, that are getting inundated with customers selling. Coin dealers or coin shops getting overloaded with gold. What do you do with it now? Well, I can't have all this cash tied up in gold. I got to liquidate it. Well, now you liquidate it to other dealers across the country that maybe have customers for it. So within a wholesale dealer group that I'm in, there's many days I can buy 1 ounce gold at spot. So that's not normal. Usually you're going to have to pay some kind of a premium, but I wonder what they're paying to bring it in. But there was opportunity last week. If I would have needed them, I could have bought Krugerrands and 3/9 maple leafs, gold maple leafs, so the older gold maple leafs at spot from another dealer on our network. So I didn't need any gold, because I'm honestly a little heavy on gold right now myself at the moment, because of the things that are selling in the shop. Predominantly in my shop, it is silver. Even dollar for dollar, of course, ounce for ounce it is, but dollar for dollar, silver is outselling gold by a lot. So I think those shops that are getting inundated with product, as I mentioned, I have a lot more people selling back right now too. But fortunately for me, I have people buying as well. Not all the shops in the country are in that good situation, I guess. So when that does happen, premiums that dealers trade back and forth between do drop. And I'll just give you a quick example. I had a customer show up whom I'd never met before, but he lives in a town literally 10 minutes away, a small town next to Minot. Came in and sold 200 ounces of silver rounds. Nice guy, around my age. We had a nice talk. Well, he shows up the next day and sells 200 more ounces. And he said, well, would you buy all that I have? I said, well, sure. I mean, how much are we talking? He said, well, I have had 4,000 ounces total, so I have 3,600 more ounces to sell. I said, oh, okay. He said, do I get a better price because I'm selling more? And I explained to him, I said, no, actually, you would get a worse price because you're selling more. And I had to explain to him why. I said, because I'm going to have to wholesale off some of that inventory, because I can't tie up all that cash if I can't move it quick. She said, oh, okay, well, what would you pay? I said, well, that's a very good question. Let me make some calls and I'll get back to you. So I actually called my friend Dave from Coin Huskers and said, hey, Dave, what are you paying for silver rounds right now? He said, well, wholesale buyback right now is 10 cents back of spot. I said, really? I've been paying way too well in my shop then, because I'm usually paying spot or 40, 50 cents over, because wholesale I can get them for about 60 to 65 cents over spot right now for silver rounds. So I said, okay, I'm glad I called, because I have a feeling if I end up buying these, I'm going to want to flip some over to you. Would you buy them? He said, yeah, of course, but just make sure you buy them so you can cover your freight, because I'm going to have to pay to ship them and insure them. So I can't buy them at 10 cents and then back and then ship them and even break even. I would lose money. So called the guy back. I said, here's the deal. I can buy them back at 30 cents back of spot. Okay, that's fine. And I'll tell you, the first 2 batches I bought from him, I bought at spot. Actually, the first time I paid about 20 cents over. Then I paid spot a few days, or it was a day or two later. And now I pay 30 cents back. He was happy. I'm glad I made that call, because I didn't realize that wholesalers' buyback prices were getting so low. I guess if I'd have done the math in my head, I would have realized it, because they're selling to me at 60 to 70 cents over spot. So they got to be making some money, right? So long story short, I was fortunate where I was able to flip. I did make the purchase on Friday. I was able to flip all 3,600 ounces to 2 of my very good customers at my cost. So I broke even on the deal. Essentially, they just helped buy the deal for me. And I was really happy to do that with my customers, because they're very good customers, good people. And I shared in a great deal with them. And at the end of the day, everybody was happy. So, and I didn't have to have the nerve-wracking, fear something's going to happen in transit if I have to ship them off somewhere, because packages do get lost, let's be honest. And insurance isn't always going to side with you. So that deal worked out pretty well for me. It was an $81,000 transaction that I spent, and I got $81,000 in return. So it was a win-win for everybody involved, and I think everybody was happy.
That's good. So with something like that where you don't make a profit at all, like what's your goal there? Is it just to make your customers happy so they continue to shop with you?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, there were several others that I gave the option to as well, but they didn't get back to me in time, so they missed out. But between those 2 customers, they're both great guys, good customers, and I was just happy to give them a great deal. And I don't need to make money every time. It's okay. So, and the fact that those 2 have brought a lot of business into my shop, both themselves and referrals of others. So you make it back in other places. So I wasn't concerned about making a profit, more so than being able to do this deal and flip it quickly, so I don't have all that cash tied up.
Well, that's awesome, man. I love to hear that. And I'm sure your customers appreciate you as well. That's why so many people have so many good things to say about you. So you had said that the wholesaler buyback, they're paying 10 cents back. You're paying 60 to 70 cents if you were to buy it from them. So, the spreads, it's not like the spreads are massive, right now. That's not even, no. I was going to say it's not even 10%. So it's good to see the premiums are down to a point where, like I said earlier, and then of course spot price being down as well, people can really just add more silver to their stack at a good price. And hopefully those that were buying a lot last year that are still interested in continuing to stack silver can take advantage of lowering that DCA down, because I know anyone that bought March, April, May, June, July even of last year, they're pretty heavy in that silver right now. So it'd be nice to get that cost average down. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Josh. So one last thing I wanted to bring up. I wanted to, and I don't know if you'd be able to do this, but I want to formally invite you to the Tulsa, Oklahoma Coin Show in June, where me and probably 40 plus other YouTubers are going to be, as well as hundreds of guests that are going to come out as well that aren't necessarily YouTubers themselves, but they watch some of us on YouTube. Is that something you think you could make it to?
I could definitely try. I appreciate the invite. I think that would be an amazing time. I would love to meet everybody in person. And I love going to coin shows, whether it be setting up or even as a customer. I love going to coin shows. So, yeah, I know you sent me the dates the other day. So I'm definitely going to look into it. I'll let you know coming up if I can make it work.
Well, listen, even if you don't want to come down and set up a table and be a vendor for the entire weekend, just come down and hang out with us. It would be great. And guys, if you're watching this part of the video, do me a favor, leave a comment down below and tell Josh you want to see him at the coin show in June. I'd love to hear it.
Appreciate that. So
anything else going on in the shop that you wanted to share with us, Josh? Or other than that, we'll just let it go here, but I'd love to open it up for you.
I always appreciate that. We can let it go here. I don't have, I have But at what point are people going to quit listening? You got to cut it off somewhere. So
That's totally
yeah,
fair.
I appreciate you having me on today.
Well, guys, I'm going to have Josh back on in a couple of weeks because we try to have him on every other week or so. Josh, however, guys, has his own YouTube channel. We've said this many times, but if you don't know that yet, I'm going to put a link for it down below. Do me a favor and go over and subscribe because he has a great channel. And if you want to hear some inside info, if you will, from an actual coin dealer in Minot, North Dakota, that's a great channel to subscribe to. Josh, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. And for everybody that's watching today, I hope that you really enjoyed the video. If you want more information yourself on that Tulsa, Oklahoma coin show, I'll put a link down below, or you can just go to tulsacoinshow.com. Now, I'm going to put this video up here if you haven't seen it yet. That's the interview that we talked about in this video with Brian from Vermilion. You should go check it out right now. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time.